They say the snake goddess waits in silence, not to protect, but to punish. And once she marks a human soul, nothing, not prayers, not temples, not gods, can save you. But tell me, if a goddess appeared in your dreams and whispered your name, would you dare ignore her? For centuries, Indian folklore has carried the chilling tales of Manasa Devi, the snake goddess. Worshipped in some regions, feared in others, and completely avoided in remote villages, her legend always comes with a warning. Respect her, and she shields you. Offend her, and she swallows you whole. This is not the myth the temples teach. This is the version no priest dares to repeat. The one whispered at night, in fear that she might hear her own name. And if you are one of those who love global horror, worldwide legends, and cursed tales from every corner of the planet, then subscribe to the channel and join our terrifying family. The true story of Arjun Mukherjee. It began in the summer of 1993. A young anthropologist named Arjun Mukherjee arrived in a small village in Assam, determined to document ancient rituals before they disappeared. He was brilliant, skeptical, and deeply curious. Dangerously curious. He came for research, but something else was waiting for him. The first omen. On his first night, he was assigned a small hut at the edge of the forest. The villagers insisted he not wander after sunset. They warned him that the jungle belonged to her. Arjun laughed. He believed in folklore, yes, but not in gods, curses, or snake deities haunting the night. At 2:14 a.m., he heard hissing. Not outside, inside his room. He lit a lantern. The flame shook violently, as if reacting to something unseen. From the wall, hundreds of tiny shadows began to slither. Yet when he approached, there were no snakes, only marks. Circular marks, like coiled bodies pressing into the mud walls. That was the moment his story should have ended, but Arjun kept digging. The forbidden statue. 3 days later, Arjun discovered something the villagers begged him not to touch. A hidden shrine deep in the jungle, swallowed by vines and centuries of fear. There he found a strange statue of Manasa, unlike any depiction he had seen before. Not nurturing, not divine, but monstrous. She had 6 arms, 2 human, 4 serpentine. Her human eyes were closed, but the serpent eyes carved along her torso were wide open, staring straight at him. Arjun reached out and brushed the stone. The ground trembled. The trees shifted. Something moved beneath the soil. He felt a sting on his wrist, sharp, burning. He pulled back, but his skin now bore a mark. A serpent-shaped burn carved into his flesh like glowing embers. When he returned to the village, elders stepped back in terror. One whispered, "She marked you." But Arjun refused to believe it. He called it superstition, coincidence, nonsense. He didn't know that once Manasa marks a human, she begins the hunt slowly, through dreams first, then through visions, then through reality. The first dream. That night Arjun dreamed of a woman. She stood in ankle-deep water, her black hair floating unnaturally around her. Her eyes, bright yellow, reptilian, watched him without blinking. Snakes coiled gently around her arms like jewelry. She raised her finger to her lips. Silence. Then she whispered, "I touched what was mine." He choked. A snake, long, black, and violently hissing, sat coiled on his chest. Before he could scream, it vanished into smoke. The villagers heard the commotion and rushed to his hut. When they entered, they didn't ask what happened. They simply stared at the burn mark on his wrist, which now glowed faintly yellow. One of them said, "She has begun." And Arjun finally felt fear. Arjun packed his bags. He was ready to leave the village, the forest, the curse, everything. But as he stepped outside, he froze, because written in the dirt, coiled like a serpent forming a sentence, were 5 chilling words. "You cannot run from me." Once a goddess marks you, she does not kill you immediately. She peels your sanity first. Tell me, if your own shadow began to move without you, would you trust your eyes or fear your mind? Arjun tried to convince himself the message in the dirt was a prank. Footsteps, wind, animals, anything but the truth. But a single undeniable thought stayed with him. The mark on his skin was spreading. A faint yellow glow now traced the veins in his wrist like serpents slithering under his flesh. He had to leave the village. But fate and the goddess had other plans. When the curse awakes. The attempt to escape. Before sunrise, Arjun hired a motorbike from a villager. He didn't tell anyone. No goodbyes, no explanations. The forest road out of Assam was narrow, twisting between enormous trees that blocked nearly all sunlight. He drove fast, dirt flying behind him, until he slammed the brakes. A woman stood in the middle of the road, barefoot, wet hair clinging to her face, eyes glowing faintly yellow. Arjun yelled, "Hey, move!" But she didn't move. She only lifted her hand and pointed at him. The bike's engine died. Silence swallowed the jungle. Arjun's breath hitched. He blinked, and she vanished. Not walked away, vanished. The jungle seemed to breathe around him. Leaves rustled, though the air was still. The ground beneath him pulsed like something massive crawled under the soil. He forced the bike to restart. It didn't move. He tried again, nothing. Then a whisper floated into his ear, so close he felt the breath. "You cannot leave." The engine roared back to life, on its own. Arjun drove back to the village without looking anywhere but the road. He didn't notice the faint yellow eyes watching him between the trees. The elder's confession. The villagers gathered around him when he returned, but not in anger, in dread. The oldest woman, Daya, approached him. Her back was hunched, and her eyes looked older than the land itself. She spoke softly. "She has chosen you. This was not your fault. It was ours." Arjun frowned. "Ours?" Daya motioned for him to follow her into a dark hut at the edge of the village, the same hut where generations of villagers had kept their most dangerous secrets.
Inside were carvings of snakes, idols of Manasa, dried herbs, and dozens of jars filled with shed serpent skins. Daya began. Our village was saved by a pact, one we broke. She told him a story from 73 years ago. A plague of venomous snakes attacked the village. People died in dozens, children, elders, livestock. The villagers cried out to Manasa for mercy, and she answered. In the form of a woman with snakes cascading from her arms, she promised protection, in exchange for one thing, a shrine built in her honor, and absolute respect. But the next generation grew arrogant. They stopped performing the rituals, stopped praying, stopped believing. So Manasa punished them, not with snakes, but with dreams that killed. She marked one man each decade, a man who trespassed into her sacred land, and that person always suffered the same fate: madness, visions, nightmares, and finally, disappearance. Arjun's voice shook. "And you let me walk into the forest, knowing the shrine was there?" Daya whispered. "We hoped she would not notice you. We were wrong." The second dream, the goddess speaks. That night, Arjun didn't sleep willingly. He simply blackout collapsed. He drifted into the same watery dreamscape, but this time everything was deeper, darker, colder. There she stood again, Manasa. Her beauty was inhuman. Her presence was suffocating. But this time she wasn't alone. Thousands of snakes hissed in a circle around her. She approached Arjun slowly, her feet gliding over the water. Her voice slithered through him. "You touched my stone, but that is not why I marked you." Arjun swallowed hard. "Then why?" She leaned close, her breath cold as winter. "Because you were offered to me." Arjun's eyes widened. "What? By who?" The goddess smiled, a slow, venomous bend of the lips. "Ask the ones who pretend to protect you." He tried to run, but the water rose like hands grabbing his legs. Snakes wrapped around his arms and throat. He couldn't scream. Manasa whispered the final blow. "Your fate was sealed long before you were born." He woke up, gasping for air, and the burn on his wrist had spread to his forearm, glowing like fire beneath his skin. The villagers lie. Arjun confronted the villagers at dawn. "Tell me the truth," he demanded. "What did your elder hide from me?" Daya trembled. She didn't look him in the eye. Finally she whispered, "The curse returns every generation, and the goddess demands a marked one. This year it was supposed to be a child, but when you touched the shrine, you took her place." Arjun stepped back in horror. They had known. They had let it happen. They had let him walk into the trap. He wasn't simply cursed. He had been sacrificed. That night, the forest grew unnaturally quiet. No insects, no wind, no animals. Just silence. Then, slowly, branches parted at the forest's edge. Something massive slithered closer, flattening the grass. Arjun stood frozen as he saw two glowing yellow eyes watching him from the darkness. Not human, not animal, divine, ancient, hungry.
Some curses don't begin with you. They begin with the people who should have protected you. Tell me, if you discovered your family hid a deal with a goddess, would you forgive them or fear what you might become. Arjun barely slept. His arm burned like a coal beneath the skin. Veins glowed faintly yellow, crawling higher toward his shoulder. The villagers avoided him now. They wouldn't look at him, wouldn't speak to him, except for one. A girl named Asha, the only one who showed genuine fear, not of him, but for him. She whispered, "Arjun, you need to know who you really are." And with that, the nightmare deepened. The truth that was buried. 1. Asha's secret. Asha dragged Arjun into her home, shutting the door quickly, as if something waited outside. Her voice trembled. "You think this curse started the moment you touched the shrine, but Manasa marked your family long before you were born." Arjun froze. "What do you mean, my family?" Asha's eyes glistened. "Your grandfather was the first." She pulled out a wooden box hidden beneath the floorboards. Inside were old photographs, faded, cracked, and water-damaged. Arjun stared at one photo in disbelief. His grandfather as a young man, standing beside the same Manasa shrine. Asha continued, "He broke his oath to the goddess. Your father ran away from this village because he didn't want to face the curse. And now it has come for you." Arjun clenched his fists. "My father never mentioned this." Asha whispered, "Because he was terrified. He believed leaving the village would protect you, but the goddess has no borders." Thunder rumbled in the distance. Not ordinary thunder. Something heavier. Something alive. 2. The mark spreads. Arjun lifted his sleeve. The veins had spread up to his shoulder blade, glowing like molten gold beneath the skin. Asha gasped, "She's claiming you faster than anyone before." Suddenly, the window shattered. Both screamed, but nothing had hit the glass. It had shattered outward, as if something inside the room had pushed its way out. The shadow in the corner began to move. No form, no face, just a shifting darkness, like a snake of pure, lightless void. It hissed, but not a normal hiss. It sounded like thousands of whispers layered on top of each other. Asha grabbed Arjun's hand. "We have to go, now." They ran out into the village square, but something was different. The air smelled like burned soil. The ground pulsed beneath their feet. Manasa wasn't approaching. She was already here. 3. The elder speaks the forbidden truth. The villagers gathered in terror. Daya, the elder, held a burning torch in one hand and something wrapped in cloth in the other. Arjun yelled, "You lied to me! You said the curse was random!" Daya shook her head slowly. "It has never been random. Manasa does not choose strangers. She chooses heirs." Arjun stiffened. "Heirs of what?" Asha answered for her, voice shaking. "Of the man who betrayed her." Daya lifted the cloth. Inside was a stone pendant, shaped like a serpent swallowing its tail. Arjun's blood ran cold. "My grandfather wore that." Daya nodded. "And he broke the pact. He defiled the shrine. He mocked the goddess."
Manasa spared him the punishment, but she vowed to take his bloodline instead. Arjun stumbled back. So, all of this? My nightmares? The mark? The visions? The woman on the road? It's because of something he did? Daya lowered her head. Your grandfather didn't offend a spirit. He offended a goddess. 4. The arrival. The goddess takes her shape. The torches flickered violently, the trees bent unnaturally, sand and leaves twisted into a spiraling vortex. From the jungle came the sound they all recognized. But multiplied, echoing across the earth, coming from everywhere and nowhere. The giant shape emerged from the tree line, not human, not snake, a silhouette of a woman formed from hundreds of serpents intertwined. Her face shimmered between beauty and terror, eyes glowing bright gold. She towered over them. Every villager fell to their knees. Even Daya trembled. Manasa's voice echoed like a storm underwater. The debt returns. Arjun's mark pulsed violently. He screamed, falling to the ground as the golden veins spread across his back, chest, neck. Asha held him, crying, "Fight it, Arjun! Don't let her take you!" The goddess moved closer. Her shadow fell over him. Her voice coiled into his skull. "Blood of the betrayer, you belong to me." Arjun's eyes rolled back as his body arched in agony. Snakes slithered up his legs, wrapping like chains. Asha whispered desperately, "There must be a way to stop her. There has to be." But the villagers looked away. They all knew the truth. No one escapes the goddess. No one breaks her claim. No one survives her judgment. The sky cracked with thunder as Manasa reached down toward Arjun. Asha screamed his name, and the mark on his body erupted in blinding golden light. Everything went white. Silence. And when the light faded, Arjun was gone. Not dead, not taken. Gone. And the goddess whispered one final sentence into the trembling night. "He will return when the blood is ready."
Some places are not found on any map. They open only for those chosen to suffer. If you vanished from the world and awoke underground with a goddess whispering your destiny, would you obey or die fighting? When Arjun vanished in the blinding golden flash, the world above collapsed into panic. Asha searched the village, screaming his name, but no echo returned. Meanwhile, Arjun's consciousness drifted in endless darkness, weightless, breathless, alive, but not in the world of humans. And when he finally opened his eyes, he realized the truth. He was inside a temple no human had ever entered. The goddess's prison. 1. The Awakening. Arjun blinked through the darkness. A dim golden glow pulsed like a heartbeat around the chamber. The stone floor beneath him was warm, not like rock, like skin. He staggered to his feet. The air smelled of earth, wet, ancient, alive. Symbols, serpentine shapes, moved across the walls as if breathing. Whispers echoed all around him. He wasn't alone. A voice coiled behind him. "Do not fear. You are where you were always meant to be." Arjun spun around. The goddess Manasa stood before him, in a form smaller than before, almost human in scale, but no less terrifying. Her eyes glowed gold. Her hair writhed with tiny living serpents. Her skin shimmered like scales beneath moonlight. Arjun tried to speak, but his throat tightened. "You took me. Why? What do you want from me?" She stepped closer. "I want what was stolen." Her hand touched his marked arm. Pain surged. Golden veins clawed across his chest and neck. Arjun screamed. The goddess whispered calmly, "You carry the blood of the Oathbreaker, but within you is also the seed of restoration. You will finish what he destroyed." 2. The Temple's Truth. Arjun forced himself to stand. "What is this place?" Manasa raised her hand. The chamber brightened. Arjun gasped. They weren't in a cave. They stood inside an underground serpent sanctuary, enormous and circular, built from bones and stone, carved with ancient sigils. At the center was a massive pit, spiraling downward like a cyclone frozen in stone. From its depths came the never-ending sound of hissing. Manasa spoke. "Thousands of years ago, this temple was my throne. Humans worshipped me, honored me, feared me. Your ancestor was one of my chosen." Arjun's heart pounded. "You're saying my family worshipped you?" "Worshipped, served, and protected. But your grandfather defied me. He spilled sacred blood in this temple, blood that bound you to my curse." Arjun's voice trembled. "What blood?" Manasa's face hardened. "Mine." The goddess lifted her palm. A scar, ancient, deep, crossed her wrist. The shock hit him like a punch. "Grandfather wounded you?" Manasa's voice thundered through the temple. "He tried to kill me." The hissing in the pit swelled violently. Arjun stumbled backward. "But why would he—"
Manasa extended her hand. The air shimmered. A memory formed in front of Arjun, a vision made of gold dust. His grandfather stood in the sacred temple, holding a ceremonial blade. Young, strong, fearless. Manasa, in human form, offered him a blessing, and he attacked her. The blade cut her wrist. Her divine blood spilled onto the stone. The temple cracked. The earth shook. The goddess screamed, not in pain, but in fury. The vision dissolved. Manasa spoke softly now. He wanted the power of divinity. He tried to steal it, but the blood of gods is not taken. It is repaid. Arjun's chest tightened. Now you're taking revenge on me?" She stepped forward, placing her palm over his heart. "No," she whispered, "not revenge, restoration." Arjun whispered, "What does that mean?" Manasa's eyes glowed. It means you will become my vessel. The transformation begins. Arjun felt it, the mark pulsing faster, the golden veins spreading like lightning across his skin. No, no, I'm not doing this. He collapsed to his knees. The ground throbbed beneath him. Snakes slithered from the shadows, hundreds, then thousands, forming a spiraling pattern around him. They lifted their heads, staring at him with synchronized precision. Manasa whispered, "Through you my power will return to the world. Through you the bloodline will be purified." Arjun writhed as invisible force pulled at his bones. His vision blurred, his heartbeat slowed. Then a voice broke through the darkness. Asha. She wasn't physically present, but he heard her. "Arjun, don't let her take your mind. I'm coming for you." The goddess froze. Her expression turned from calm to enraged. She hissed, "The girl disrupts the bond." Arjun gasped for breath, fighting the divine pressure crushing his skull. Asha's voice trembled through the air. "Arjun, listen to me. Your blood doesn't define you." Manasa lifted her hand. The temple shook, but Asha's voice strengthened. "You decide who you become." Arjun's heart pounded. He screamed, and a blast of golden light exploded from his chest, hurling the serpents backward. Manasa staggered. She stared at him in fury and disbelief. "You resist!" Arjun trembled, barely able to stand. I'm not him." Manasa's expression twisted into something monstrous. Her voice thundered, "Then you will die as your own man." The ground split open beneath him. Arjun fell, down, 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 into the spiraling pit of serpents. Their fangs glistened, their bodies writhed, and the darkness swallowed him whole. Arjun plunged into the abyss beneath the ancient sanctuary, where the final truth, the final trial, and the final confrontation with the serpent goddess await him. His body is breaking, his mind is fracturing, but the goddess is not done with him. Not yet.
Some endings are not written, they are chosen. Falling into the maw of the temple, Arjun plummeted into the spiraling pit, a tunnel of bone, stone, and living scales. Snakes climbed the walls like veins, their eyes glowed gold, their tongues flicked at his falling body. He hit the ground hard. Silence. He lay in a vast cavern, lit by an eerie green glow, the glow of venom. Massive pillars carved like serpents coiled upward for hundreds of meters. Arjun pushed himself up, groaning. "What is this place?" A voice slithered around him. "The heart of my temple, the womb of serpents, and your grave." Manasa descended from above, floating as though gravity meant nothing to her. Her form had changed. She was taller, her face sharper, more divine. Her eyes now vertical slits, her lower half fully serpentine. A goddess in her truest, most terrifying shape. Arjun staggered back. "I won't let you control me." "You misunderstand," she replied softly. "I no longer want to control you. I will crush you and rebuild the vessel I need." Her hand rose. The snakes gathered, the cavern rumbling like a living storm. Arjun's heartbeat hammered, his veins still glowed, burning. He felt something inside him answering her power. A connection, a curse,
a destiny. But then, Asha's voice echoed through the chamber, not in his mind this time, in the flesh. "Arjun!" She turned, shocked. Asha stood at the cave entrance, covered in dirt and dried blood, a torch shaking in her hand. She had climbed down after him. Manasa hissed in rage. "You dare enter my sanctum, mortal!" Asha raised the torch with trembling arms. "I came for the one I love. You can curse me, kill me, whatever you want, but you will not take Arjun!" A shock wave blasted the cavern. Manasa's eyes widened. "The bond is stronger than I expected." Arjun pulled Asha to him. "You shouldn't have come. I wasn't letting you die alone." Her voice cracked. Something inside Arjun snapped, not in fear, but in strength. Manasa descended toward them, coils crushing stone beneath her. "Both of you now will serve me, through death or through devotion." Arjun stood tall. "No, this ends tonight." The battle of will and blood. The cavern erupted. Manasa's serpents lunged. Asha swung the torch, fire meeting scales, hissing and popping. Arjun felt the golden veins inside him ignite. Energy pulsed outward. He raised his hand, and a blast of golden force hurled the snakes backward. Asha stared, shocked. "Arjun, you're glowing!" He didn't understand it, but he could feel it. Manasa's bloodline and his human will were colliding inside him. The goddess towered above them. "You cannot defeat me. I am ancient. I am divine. I am the mother of serpents." Arjun clenched his fists. "And I am the end of your curse." He charged. Manasa struck with her tail, sending him crashing into a stone pillar. A crack opened in the ground. Asha screamed his name. Arjun pushed himself up, coughing blood. The goddess approached slowly. "You are nothing." Arjun wiped the blood from his mouth. "No, I'm the first in my family who won't run, won't betray, won't kneel." Manasa roared. She lunged. Arjun lifted his arm instinctively. The golden mark blazed, and a shock wave of divine energy exploded outward. Manasa screamed, her form flickering. "You dare use my own blood against me?" Arjun's voice thundered back. "I'm not using your blood." He stepped forward. "I'm using my choice." Manasa conjured a storm of serpents, thousands, writhing like a living tsunami. Asha ran to Arjun. "We do this together." He took her hand. The golden light spread across them both. Asha gasped, but did not let go. The cavern shook violently. The serpent storm descended. Arjun and Asha braced. Boom! A massive blast of light erupted, white and gold, engulfing the serpents, dissolving them into dust. Manasa recoiled, shrieking, "Stop! Humans cannot command divine power!" Arjun lifted his hand again. "You said I would be your vessel." He looked at Asha. "Turns out, she's my strength." Asha squeezed his hand tighter. Manasa tried one final strike, a spear of venomous shadow. Arjun stepped forward, absorbing the blow into the golden mark. The light inside him ignited like a star. He whispered to Asha, "Hold on." He sprinted forward and drove his glowing hand through Manasa's chest.
light erupted. Manasa froze. Her eyes widened in shock. "My heart!" Her body shook violently. Her serpents dissolved. Her divine form fractured like porcelain. She whispered, "You were meant to serve me, not destroy me." Arjun's voice was soft. "You chose my fate once. Now I choose yours." The goddess shattered into radiant dust. The cavern fell silent. The curse was broken. The temple began to crumble. The serpentine pillars cracked. Stone rained from above. The pit glowed with dying energy. Arjun grabbed Asha's hand. "We need to get out." They ran, dodging falling debris. The ceiling collapsed behind them. They climbed the bone tunnel. The light grew brighter. Wind hit their faces. They burst out into the forest, just as the ground behind them collapsed completely, burying the temple forever. Arjun fell to his knees. He looked at his arm. The golden mark faded. Gone. Asha knelt beside him. "You're free." He let out a shaking breath. "I'm free." She smiled through tears and pulled him into her arms. The last breath of the serpent. Weeks passed. The village returned to life. Arjun and Asha rebuilt their home. The nightmares were gone. The snakes no longer watched from the trees. Peace returned. But one night, as Arjun slept, he heard a soft whisper. "Blood remembers." He sat up, heart racing. The room was empty, silent. He exhaled. Just a dream. He lay back down. But outside the house, deep in the dark forest, unseen by human eyes, a single serpent slithered through the leaves. Its eyes glowed faint gold, then faded forever. The legend of Manasa broken. The curse ended. Arjun's bloodline finally free. Not every goddess dies forever, and not every curse stays buried. Some legends sleep, and some awaken again. Subscribe to the channel if you're a fan of global horror and terrifying legends from around the world. Like the video and let us know in the comments, which legend or horror story would you like to see in the next episode?